morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is that you are tuning in. This is Unapologetically Me, featuring me. No special guests, just me. Okay, so let's get on into video number 3. This video is going to at times be graphic for some. I'm not showing any pictures or any type of graphic videos or anything like that. So basically just the description of the body and the description of the autopsy is what I'm going to be talking about. So it may be, it is disturbing, but it may be too much for some. So I definitely want to say that maybe you want to skip this one or just know that I am going to be explaining in detail what they found at the crime scene as far as her body, what it looked like, and what happened to it with the autopsy. It is very graphic. It was very brutal. So heads up. Okay. So this crime was described as a crime of extreme brutality, as you will see when I tell you the information about it. This poor sweet girl. And let me just tell you something. So in doing this, in doing true crime, I wanted to make a channel really where I talked about mom stuff and everything, and I still want to get into that. I've been sick for a while, so I haven't been able to do exactly what I want to do with this channel. But I also wanted to do certain hot topics when it comes to true crime. And I wanted to do that because it's something that I've been into since I was a little kid. And I tend to get wrapped up in cases and wanting to know everything about them. So I figured, why not share what I'm learning with other people, as, you know, for entertainment, for, you know, purposes, but also just to kind of see where everybody else is at about these things. So I really would appreciate comments, you know, but that's okay. We're getting there, right? But I didn't really take into consideration how I might become somewhat attached to some of the people that I am reporting on, such as the victim. I went on Instagram to look for photos and to look for information, apart from anything newsworthy. I wanted to find out who, you know, TRISTYN was, who Aiden was. And when I went on to Instagram and looked up TRISTYN Bailey, I found so much as far as justice for TRISTYN Bailey dedication. And last night was rough. I literally sat in my bedroom alone eating ice cream for an hour while crying watching these videos. And I did not expect to get that emotionally involved. But I did. And, you know, I think a lot of it is just how tragic it was. A lot of it is that she was a 13-year-old girl. A lot of it is that I am a mother of a 13-year-old girl. And a lot of it is that it's terrifying these days to think what people are capable of and what our youth is capable of. And, you know, a lot of it's out of our hands. We can raise our own children, you know, to be good people, and we can be aware when our kids are slipping and something might be wrong with them, and, you know, we can get them help, but we can't control what other parents do. We can't control what other parents see. We don't know what their life entails. These days, most people have to be working sometimes 2 and 3 jobs, especially if you're a single parent, just to pay the bills and put a roof over your children's head. So it's tough. It's tough to, you know, have to do the work of 2 when you're single. And even if you're married, you both have to be working. So a lot of times, you know, I know that that's not everybody, but in my personal life, that's the way it is. We have to be making money to keep a roof over our kids' head. We can't be watching them 24/7. And the fact of COVID, we're sending kids home for 14-day quarantines. Don't even get me started, with no parental supervision. Okay, that's not the case here because I work from home. But and not to disclose my financial situation, but like I'm not even able to do that because when the kids are home on a quarantine, they are just in need of all of my attention all the time. And kids can be like that, and that's, you know, that's life. So anyway, you know, me going on these tangents, but it wouldn't be unapologetically me if I didn't unapologetically be me. So, all right, enough of this rambling. On with it. So this poor sweet girl was stabbed 114 times. 49 of these wounds were defensive wounds, and 35 of these stab wounds were to her head and neck alone. She was found on her right side with her head pointed to the east, looking north, and her feet pointing to the west. Her right knee was bent slightly, and her right leg was bent slightly at the knee, and her left leg was bent at a 90-degree angle at the knee. Her right arm was extended with a slight bend in the elbow, and her left arm was bent at the elbow with her hand touching her chin. And I don't know why, for some reason, that sent chills up my back when I first read that. Just picturing this. I don't know why, it really did. She was wearing a black shirt with pink written across the front. Keep that in mind, written across the front. Black Nike sweatpants and black and white Vans slip-on shoes. I know these shoes very, very well. Vans are very popular, especially back in 2021. My children have these exact shoes, and pink is just everything for preteens and some of the younger teens. We got pink everywhere, everything. In fact, my last video, I didn't even realize it until I went back and watched it. I was wearing a pink sweatshirt. Anyway, her hair appeared to be matted and red with what appeared to be blood. She had multiple sharp force injury wounds on her hands, arms, neck, as well as her back, which was evident by the holes in her shirt. Now, crime scene techs located with her and near her a gold ring, a cell phone, a $20 bill, and a pink vape device, all of which were covered in blood. A bit farther away from the body was a Powerade bottle. So I don't think they're sure. They haven't said whether or not that's part of the crime scene, but those have been proven to be her belongings. As you remember about the video earlier in the evening that she posted to her memories about, she had a pink vape and she was wearing this black t-shirt with pink across the back. Well, when she was found, pink was across the front. However, it was the same t-shirt. Interesting, right? She was found fully clothed, and at the time, sexual assault had not been ruled out, but it has since been ruled out from what I can find. Her left ankle had karma written on it in blue ink, and her right ankle had a smiley face drawn in blue ink on it. That's weird. Nobody really knows where that came from. That could have been totally innocently done by her or a friend or something earlier or whatever. Or it could have been done by her killer. We don't know. There was a shoe imprint in the dirt next to her that was eventually matched to Aiden's shoes. At 8 p.m., after discovering the body and after everything that they found out, Aiden was taken from the North Amenity Center where he was waiting with his parents to the SJSO to be further interrogated by the investigation division. So at 8:30 p.m., he was patted down. On his person was a blue-handled folding knife. As his friends all said, he always carried a knife around, and he still had a knife on him. And after looking at it, an officer decides it's not important and gives it back to Aiden's father to hang on to. I don't know why. I don't know why that they would do that. They haven't found a murder weapon yet. She was found stabbed. But obviously, they must have known from looking at it that it didn't have anything on it. I don't know. I find it odd that they would, if a girl is found stabbed and the suspect has a weapon on him, a knife on him, that they don't keep that knife. But they didn't keep it. They gave it to his father, Aiden Fucci, who, what do you think happened to this knife? Do you guys think it's still around? You're right. It's lost. It's not still around. Jason says that he placed it on the back of his bumper and drove off, forgetting that it was there. Some officers went back to see if they could find it, and it's never been found. So, sus as right? Okay. Now, I rate things on 2 scales. A little bit sus and sus as fuck. Okay, that's sus as fuck. But Aiden Fucci does have a bit of a record. He served 14 months in jail for violating probation back in 2003 when he was arrested and charged with having sex with a minor. He also had some battery charges in 2016 as well. So that's just a little kind of view on Aiden's father. So moving on from there, while they are transporting Aiden to question him further, they also, another set of officers, go out to Trey's home to conduct another interview with him and his father. This time, Trey says a lot more to police about Aiden. Things Trey said about him this time were a little bit different and definitely more in detail than before. Like I said in my last video, I think he realized how serious this was, and his father was also present, and I think his father was like, you need to tell these officers the truth. You need to tell them everything that you know, because a girl is now dead, and Aiden was the last one with her. So you need to stop protecting your friend and be honest and tell the truth. So he describes Aiden to police. He describes Aiden as a person who doesn't care about anything. Trey said that one time he and TRISTYN, when they were all hanging out together, he and TRISTYN left the room so that Aiden and his girlfriend could talk. We're going to call his girlfriend Z. I do not feel comfortable using people's names that are not like directly connected to the case. I mean, not that they're not connected, but especially minors. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to babble. We're calling her Z, okay? Z told Trey that while alone in the room, Aiden took out a knife, and she believed, based off of his demeanor during that time, that he had thought about stabbing her then. Trey said Aiden is a big pothead. All he ever talked about was marijuana. Now remember, this is hearsay. This is somebody who is a very, very close friend to Aiden. So yes, you would think he would know him well. He also was what I think to be somewhat covering for him, basically by omission. Not lying, just not saying a lot. And now he's saying more things. So I'm not saying you have to believe him. I'm not saying everything he's saying is fact. All I'm saying is what he told police. Trey specifically recalled a statement that Aiden made when they were hanging out with TRISTYN, where Trey explained that he was into boxing. And Aiden told TRISTYN, Trey's crush is fighting. My crush is killing people. Aiden had made comments about killing people, slitting their throat, or stabbing people, but didn't mention doing it to anyone specifically. He just talked a lot about doing those things to someone. Aiden had made... Oh, wait, I said that already. Trey didn't think he was serious. He just thought that that was Aiden's way of coping with his home life. So I did say in one of my videos at the beginning about this is that we don't know what went on there. Nothing has ever been said about any abuse, right? That does not mean it didn't happen. And it doesn't mean that there has to be abuse in order for your home life to be shitty. So obviously Aiden felt that his home life was shitty because he basically told his best friend something to make his best friend believe that he would say such horrible things just to be coping with his home life. But we don't know, you know. All right. Trey says that he mostly hung out alone with TRISTYN or with other people. But as far as Aiden and TRISTYN hanging out together at the same time, they were only together maybe 2 or 3 times. So TRISTYN and Aiden were not that close of friends. They did not hang out a lot. They had only hung out about 2 or 3 times. Trey and TRISTYN, however, had hung out on more occasions than that, and usually with other people. So Trey says Aiden and TRISTYN were just friends. But Aiden did want to move in on TRISTYN, but he had a girlfriend. So apparently he liked her. He wanted to move in on her, but he had a girlfriend and that was stopping him from it. Aiden had said that it would be satisfying to slit someone's throat and watch the blood drain out of them. Just typical teenage conversation. Trey says Aiden said he would have been, okay. I'm like losing my place here. Okay. You guys all know I gotta make my notes, otherwise I go off, and here I go again. Okay, back to it. Girl. All right. Sorry. Saturday, May 8th. Aiden came to Trey's home at about 8 p.m. So they were hanging out before this. Supposedly Trey was grounded. He was suspended from school, so he wasn't really supposed to have anyone over, but for some reason Aiden ends up over at Trey's home about 8 p.m. They hung out for a while. They were skateboarding. They were playing video games. They were calling random girls on the phone and talking to them. Trey offered to call TRISTYN, knowing that Aiden liked her or had a thing for her or something. And Aiden, of course, wanted him to. Then Trey went off and started talking to some other girl on the phone that he liked. And after a little bit, Aiden came up to Trey and said, "What's TRISTYN's number? I'm going to call her and see if I can get her to come over." Trey gives her the number. Aiden calls. He tries to convince TRISTYN to sneak out, and he appears to be successful because she ends up going over there. Trey says that once TRISTYN came over, Aiden and TRISTYN hung out mostly outside, whereas Trey was inside. They were smoking CBD, and when they came back inside after about 30 minutes or so, Trey had said that he was tired. It's 1 a.m. I feel like I just want to go to bed. You guys need to go. And so they left. Trey says that they left together between 1 and 1:10 a.m. When asked what TRISTYN was wearing when she left, Trey said a black shirt with pink on the front and black pants. So her shirt was already on backwards when she left Trey's house. Now, we don't have whether or not it was on backwards when she got there. And I will talk about this at the end, my opinion about this shirt being inside out. Or backwards, I mean. So, and did I say with black pants? Which is what she was found in. When Trey heard TRISTYN was missing, he said he called TRISTYN and got no answer. He also FaceTimed Aiden and saw a little bit of panic in Aiden's face when he told Aiden that the cops were now on their way to him. During this FaceTime, Aiden told Trey that he dropped TRISTYN off at the beginning of her neighborhood, at her street, and went home. Aiden never told Trey about Tristan grabbing his, which Trey actually found strange because it's definitely something Aiden would have told him. Aiden tells Trey everything. And you know, bragging, right? He would have been like, dude, yeah. But then again, who knows? This horrible thing just happened. So, but he did find it odd that he never said anything about the kiss or the grab of that or anything. So, 8:49 p.m., Aiden is left in an interview room with his parents. And this is where a lot of dialogue comes out between him and his parents. So immediately, when the officer leaves them alone in the room together, his parents tell him, do not say anything until your lawyer gets here. You need to stop talking. You gave them an interview earlier, like, don't talk to them anymore. However, they continue to ask him questions throughout the entire time that they are in there with him. Jason acknowledges at one point that we shouldn't be talking in here, but yet they keep talking. And so here are some of the things that they said to each other. So Kristen tells Aiden, the girl was found in the neighborhood down the main street. Aiden says, is she good? Crystal says, no, she's dead. And that's why this is very important. It's all on you right now. Aiden says, how is it my problem? Sweet, I know. Supposedly he liked her, right? The parents both said, because you were the last one seen with her. They have surveillance of it. The parents then bring up the Snapchat from the back of the car. Aiden tells them that Tristan didn't want to go home and she was going to call someone else to stay out with her. He went home. He said Tristan probably kept walking until she found someone else to hang out with. Jason interjects and states, Aiden pushed her down, then kept walking. And then he states, we probably shouldn't be talking in here. Yet he kept talking. He says, you walked away, you came straight home. You didn't turn back around to see where she went? Aiden shook his head. No. Aiden admits to kissing Tristan, but nothing more. Aiden stated that after Tristan grabbed his area, it made him pissed off. It pissed him off. It made him angry, and he pushed her. And I guess when he says when he pushed her, Tristan yelled out his name, and he just told her to fuck off and walked away. Jason Fucci asks Aiden, why were you wet when you got home? Why were you carrying your shoes? Why all this weirdness? He says he was carrying his shoes because his feet hurt, therefore identifying himself in the surveillance footage. He also says that he's wet because he spilled a cup of water on him. Jason's like, what? Nuh-uh, you know, and this is not exactly what he says, but Jason doesn't believe him, pushes him a little bit more, and Aiden says, I fell. So leaving that alone, a detective then enters the room to interrupt their little combo, and he says that he's going to want a DNA test from Aiden and the clothes that he's wearing, and asks the parents, can we have this? And they said, you know what, we're going to wait for our lawyer, but we'll see what our lawyer says. So the guy leaves the room, the officer leaves the room again, leaving them alone again. Crystal says, were you wearing khakis or blue jeans? Aiden says, jeans. Crystal says, and you're sure there won't be anything on them? Aiden says, I don't think so. Why? Crystal then whispers, blood. And then Aiden says nothing. Crystal says, when we looked at the camera, you were wearing khakis, right? And he's kind of like, what? And she's like, right? And he's like, yes. So he finally gets it. What do you think she's doing here, you guys? She's leading him. She's leading him to say that he was not wearing jeans, even though he just admitted that he was. This is on camera, the audio, all of it. The cops heard all of this, okay? They tell him, find a story and stick to it. So 8:59 p.m., about 10 minutes later, an officer enters a room and then requests the permission from Aiden's parents to collect the DNA. Crystal advised they're going to wait for their attorney. Officer leaves the room. When the officer leaves the room, Jason Fucci pulls his phone out, opens up some type of text app, and starts texting words on his phone and then handing his phone to Aiden, to which Aiden would text back and then hand the phone back to Jason. And they did this exchange a few times. Police definitely took this as a way for them to communicate without police being able to know what was being communicated. Therefore, they put into motion a warrant for Jason Fucci's phone as well at that point. At 11:42 p.m., a search warrant for Aiden's home is granted. At 11:46 p.m., a search warrant for DNA swabs is granted. And now, obviously, 11:46 p.m., we are going to start going into the morning, early morning of May 10th, 2021, 12:09 a.m. Evidence testing on Aiden is done, complete with fingerprints, swabbings, clothing, and photos. At 12:30 a.m., the search of Aiden's home begins. At 3:30 a.m., after his home is searched, after the autopsy is completed, and after, they have everything, the surveillance, they have a lot of testimony, witness account at this time, they feel it proper to formally charge Aiden with the second-degree murder of TRISTYN Bailey. So, we are now going to go into the autopsy and the findings of that. So, again, this is going to be a bit graphic. Again, no photos, nothing like that. So just, keep that in mind. So TRISTYN was wearing a black Victoria's Secret shirt with the word pink written in across the front. Numerous defects in the front of the shirt were consistent with sharp force trauma injuries of TRISTYN's back, and there were no injuries on TRISTYN's chest. Thus, it was determined her shirt was being worn backwards. Her bra was also worn inside out. Now, that is another interesting thing. And like I said, I will give my commentary at the very end about these things. Her time of death was determined to be between 1:45 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. She had handprints and dried blood on her upper left inner and outer thigh, her inner left calf, her inner right calf, and upper right thigh. Now, this is another thing that is interesting to me and that I definitely have way more questions about. Again, we'll get into that at the end when I will give my opinion. Based on the hand pattern, it was determined not to be her handprints. She had 114 stab wounds, concentrated to the top of her head and back of her neck, the back of both arms and hands, and her back. Some of the injuries to her hands were penetrating, indicating that her hands were on something hard when stabbed, likely on her head. So she is, and he's literally stabbing through her hands, and it is hitting her head. Based on the nature of the injuries, the suspect was standing behind her and came at a downward angle. So we know he's taller than her and she's shorter. So I wouldn't say that she was down on the ground or anything. But he got her from behind. I just, so much goes through my head when I picture this moment. And it's just terrifying, and it's disturbing, and it makes my stomach turn. As to what happened here and what she felt when he first began attacking her, or when she first began being attacked. So she had 3 stab wounds that penetrated her left chest cavity and punctured her left lung 3 times. She had 1 that punctured her right chest and right lung once. The weapon was estimated to be a single-edged blade, approximately 4 inches in length. X-rays of TRISTYN indicated a possible metal fragment that on the top of her skull, which was not initially discovered in the autopsy. So this metal fragment was so deep into her skull that they didn't see it initially during the autopsy. They didn't see it and they didn't feel it. That's how deep it was into her skull. So you just can imagine the force and the anger behind this. To call it a crime of passion, in my opinion, would be a complete understatement. So I'm going to leave it at that for right now. And we're going to go into some surveillance. Mix words together. We're going to mix a lot of words together and make 0 sense. No, just kidding. We're going to go through some surveillance footage that is gathered in the next video. But before we get there, I am going to say that at 6:30 p.m., a knife is found in the retention pond. So the retention pond near where TRISTYN's body was found was searched by a dive team, and a Buck brand folding knife with a wood and brass handle was found. The tip of this knife was bent and fractured. The knife was recovered from near the southern end of the large pond east of the Saddlestone cul-de-sac, about 140 feet from where TRISTYN was located. This knife was shown to Trey later on, and he 100% identified this knife as being Aiden's favorite knife, named Poker. The fractured part of the blade later matched that metal fragment that was found in TRISTYN's skull during the x-ray at her autopsy. So, lots. So, you guys digest that, and I am going to get the other video going. Let's see. I think we will do, no, we're going to probably have 2 more videos after this. It's just a lot, you guys, a lot. And I just want to make sure that you get all the information so you know when you come to any kind of conclusion about this case, if that's what your end game here in watching this is, you know what to think. And I try really hard to put both positive and negative about everybody in there. If the information is out there, I'm putting it in here. I'm not telling you what to think about any of this. So just keep that in mind. I'm just reporting the details that are given. Some of these things are facts. Some of these things are what other people have said. In my opinion, when I think of whether or not something is a fact, I say, was it written by the person? Can that be proven? Is it on video? And can it be proven that that is that person? And are there photos of that person? Hard evidence, right? Blood evidence, DNA evidence. These are facts. These are things that can't be argued. They're not hearsay. They're right there in front of you, and they're proven. So, all right, you guys, take a look at everything. I will talk to you guys later. Please like, subscribe, and comment below anything that you feel you want to comment about. And I will see you guys later.